Hi everybody, I'm Triphon Skywalker. I want to talk to you about the new Swiss banknotes. You surely know Switzerland for its banks and for its richness, and the Swiss franc is known as a store value. In April 2016, the Swiss National Bank began the release of its 9th series of banknotes, beginning with the 50 Franc Note. And on last 12th of September 2019, the new 100 Swiss franc note came out, which was the last one to be released. I give you just a few figures about the Swiss banknotes. In 2018, there was a mean of 471 million Swiss banknotes in circulation. This represents 79 billion Swiss francs. Note that today 1 Swiss franc is worth 1.03 US dollar, so it's almost 1 . Every year, the Swiss National Bank puts an average of almost 100 tons of Swiss banknotes in circulation, and the total cost of production for 1 Swiss banknote is 40 cents. There are many different reasons why these new Swiss banknotes are worth a discussion. As you will see, they are very aesthetic, really beautiful. They also are smart and original. For example, they are among the few banknotes that do not depict personalities. They rather focus on many facets of Switzerland. They of course have a lot of different security features, at least 17, and some are very smart. The final reason, and the most controversial, and in my opinion surely the most fascinating and exciting aspect, concerns the 1000 Swiss franc note. In this first video I will introduce these new banknotes, and I will talk about their aesthetic aspects and talk about some of their security features. And in a short second video I will focus on the 1000 note and talk about the controversy about it. So, look at these banknotes. They look great. Really, they look really beautiful. Okay, let's see the first one. This is the 10 Swiss franc note, the smallest and the cheapest of them. It received the Banknote of the Year award in 2017 by the International Banknote Society. As every note of this new edition, it is 7 cm wide, and this one is 12.3 cm long. Then each note from the 10 to the 1000 note is 7 mm longer. On each of these banknotes you will find these 4 elements. On the front, a hand or 2 hands in action and an earth globe. And on the back you will find a location and a symbolic object. The hands represent the key motif, which is the time on this 10 franc note. Then you can see the globe, which contains the time zones on this note. On the back of the note you will see a location, here a railway tunnel, and an object, here a watch's movement, which is indeed a symbol of Switzerland. These notes contain, of course, many different security features. I will show you 2 which are very smart. The first one, if you look at this zone, you will find a security strip which contains a map of Switzerland on the left and a small text on the right. On this 10 franc note, the Swiss rail network is depicted on the map, and the text gives the 25 longest tunnels of Switzerland. This image shows you this small text. It's funny to learn something interesting on a banknote. There is a second interesting security feature on each note, which is in this zone. If you look with a magnifying glass, which you will absolutely need, you will see a sentence on a Swiss flag talking about the action of the hands, and written in the 4 Swiss national languages, which are French, German, Italian and Romansh. Let's see the 20 Swiss franc note. Its dimensions are 7 per 13 centimeters, so, as I told you, 7 millimeters longer than the 10 franc note. On this note, the hand holds a prism that splits the light. The key motif is the light, which symbolizes creativity. If you look at the globe, you can see the constellations. On the back of this note you can see an image of the Locarno Film Festival, with its giant screen and its crowd. Here the object is a butterfly, which symbolizes the rich diversity of nature. On the security strip, the map of Switzerland shows the nighttime light emissions, and the small text gives the distances between 21 celestial bodies and the Earth in light seconds. This image shows this text, which brings, we can say it, astronomical information. Here is the 50 franc note, which received the Banknote of the Year award in 2016. It's really beautiful. Here the hand holds a dandelion flower, whose seeds are carried by the wind. The main element here is the wind, which symbolizes the wealth of experiences Switzerland has to offer. On the globe you can find the wind directions. On the back of the note there is a paraglider aloft in a mountain landscape. Here the security strip shows the Alps with the Swiss map on the left, and on the right you can find a list of 41 of the 49 4,000 meters peaks of the Swiss Alps. Here you can see this text. Okay, here is the 100 franc note, the last one that was released. It's a real beauty. It makes 7 per 14.4 centimeters. On the globe you will find isobars, and you can see 2 hands scooping up water. On the back of the note there is an irrigation channel hooked to a cliff face. The main element is of course water, and the theme of this note is Switzerland's humanitarian tradition. On the security strip you can see a network of waterways on the Swiss map and the list of the 18 longest rivers of Switzerland with their length in Switzerland. Here you can see this text. This is the 200 franc note. This one came second in the competition for the Banknote of the Year award in 2018, just after the new 10 Canadian dollar, Here the main theme is the scientific expertise, and over the globe you can see the continents as they were during the late Cretaceous period. On the security strip you can find an abstract map of the geological ages of Switzerland, and on the right a timeline showing 17 stages in the formation of the universe. This also is astronomical. Amazing to find that on a banknote. Let's see now this wonderful 1000 franc note. This is surely the most expensive, easy to buy, easy to sell banknote on earth. You could find more expensive banknotes like the 10,000 Brunei dollar, but it would surely be less easy to buy and sell. Here the main theme is communication and the key motif is language. This handshake is beautiful and signifies interpersonal communication, and the symbols over the globe are taken from the phonetic alphabet. On the back, this is an image of the Swiss Parliament at the Federal Palace in Bern, the capital of Switzerland. On the security strip, there is the Swiss map with the 4 language regions: German, French, Italian and Romansh speaking parts, and the list of all the 26 Swiss cantons. Here you can see this text. So, you now have discovered the new Swiss banknotes. I hope you like them. You should come to Switzerland and use them. In the next video, I will speak a little further about the 1000 note. But before that, just a short quiz. What is that? I will give you the answer in the next video. So, thank you all for watching. Thanks a lot to San Harbor, and see you soon.